Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Ralph Dennis, your chair of the Police Accountability Board. Welcome on this morning. We're this afternoon, rather. We're going to start with our roll call. And let's see who's here today. District 1.
Hey, it's Pete Fitzpatrick, District 1.
Hey, Peter, thank you. District 2, Karen. Karen's not on.
She's on, but she's on her way also.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. District 3, yours truly. District 4, still vacant. District 5, Renee, is she on?
No, sir.
Renee's not on. Okay, District 6.
Good afternoon, Scott Richmond present.
Hey, Scott.
Hello.
District 7,
Dawn DeShawn, if you're on.
Dawn's in the house. At large. I think I saw Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay.
Nigeria's muted, or we can't hear her for some reason, but
Oh, sorry, up there. Yeah,
she is here though.
Okay, and other at
Kara.
large?
Kara White.
Hey, Kara. Thank you all for coming on today. We certainly appreciate it. Let's start by reviewing and approving the minutes from our last meeting on December the 16th. I hope all of you got a copy of it. Linda sent us, Kelly sent us a copy of it earlier. Hopefully you had a chance to review them. Any concerns, changes, corrections? And if not, I'll accept a motion to adopt those minutes.
Motion for the Baltimore County Police Accountability Board to adopt the December 16th, 2024 meeting minutes as presented.
Can I get a second for that?
Second.
Thank you. Properly moved in second that those minutes be adopted. So it is. All righty, let's move straight on to our new business today. We're happy to have always with us Major Gorman, who's with us today. And got a guest with us. Welcome back.
Thank you. Very good. Good afternoon, everyone.
Come up to the table that way, just it's framed.
They can see. Okay, very good. Good afternoon, everybody. And yeah, just reporting on behalf of Chief McCullough, and he sends his regards. Yes, I did bring Captain Shanks with me. Captain Shanks is the Assistant Commander for the Internal Affairs Division.
Awesome.
And so he communicates regularly with Henry and also does a lot of the decision work on our cases. And he's been with me since September.
Good.
We obviously continue on as a partner with the ACC and the decision for police cases involving members of the public. And those cases, at least statistically, I track them quite frequently. I think we may have hit a plateau, which I'm excited to actually see. We have been increasing and increasing for the whole time I've been here. And so to see a status where the case level has seemed to be evening out is good. So it helps you with the work management there. And we're actually anxiously looking at the legislative aspects for this year too, as I'm sure this group is too. So we'll see what comes up in the next month or two.
Awesome.
305 Washington. So we are still slated to move just down the street, 305 Washington, probably later this spring. They originally thought March, but I think that's been pushed back a little bit. And so once we do, the whole group will move over to a location closer to here, and that'll give us an opportunity to be off-site, but allow members of the public to come in and out without feeling that they've got to walk through headquarters to do so. And lastly, one thing I just wanted to put on the table, I'm not sure if this group is aware of, the governor's office hands out grant funding from year to year, and with all the legislative changes that have put all this in place, they also had grant funding that has allowed for my members to go through training to make sure that we're all applying to a standard and a training level that's adequate for the job that we have to do, and that's been good. And so our folks have been able to get out to some of it's virtual. I've done some of that myself. Some of it's offsite. Some of it's local or regional training, and so we're thankful for that. And I know this board makes recommendations to the state. Certainly budgets are tight, and we know that's coming too, but I just want somebody outside my own circles to know that the money was appreciated and was well spent. So I do, that's about all I had to bring forward. The chief didn't have any specific messages other than his greeting. So if there's questions or.
Any questions or comments from what Major Gorman has shared with us this morning or this afternoon? Well, I keep saying morning.
It's Monday. It's like morning all day.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
We
thank you.
always appreciate
Yep,
you being
thank
with
you.
us. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Yes,
we'll
indeed.
take our lead now then.
All right.
Yes, yes. And please give our regards to Chief.
We'll do. We'll do.
All righty, moving right along. We're going to have a moving good today. Let's see. Deputy Chief Magnuson will not be here.
Yes, he's sick, so.
He's sick, he will not be here. Great. All right.
And also no complaints have been received against members of the sheriff's office since the
Okay.
last meeting, so.
Great. So noted, so noted. All right. Review of the Administrative Charging Committee. Dawn is here.
All right.
Live and in color.
Okay, the ACC met on October 18th, 2024, November 15th, 2024, and December 13th, 2024. We reviewed and deliberated 103 cases and rendered 103 opinions in that quarter. Of those cases resolved, all involved Baltimore County Police Department members. Of the 103, there were a total of 14 use of force cases, and the 103 are broken down as follows. 28 departmental accidents, 24 were charged, 4 were not charged. 12 complaints for rude, discourteous, unprofessional behavior, conduct, or language, 12 not charged. 10 use of force policy violations, 10 were not charged. 6 investigation procedure policy violations, 6 not charged. 1 complaint for racial bias, discrimination, or profiling, not charged. 2 complaints for failure to write a required report, 1 charged, 1 not charged. 3 complaints for harassment, 3 not charged. 1 complaint for an off-duty motor vehicle collision, not charged. 2 complaints for improper threat of arrest, 2 not charged. 1 complaint for causing injury during an arrest, not charged. 1 vehicle pursuit policy violation, charged. 2 improper searches, 2 not charged. 2 violation of search, seizure, or entry procedures, 2 not charged. 3 failure to take necessary police action, 1 was charged, 2 were not charged. 1 unlawful detention, not charged. 1 failure to provide medical care to a person in need, not charged. 1 committing a minor traffic violation while off duty in a non-agency vehicle, not charged. 1 failure to provide name and ID, not charged. 1 failure to make a required arrest, not charged. 1 violation of investigation procedures and failure to offer medical assistance, not charged. 1 complaint for rude, discourteous, or unprofessional behavior, conduct, or language, and body-worn camera policy violation, charged for both of those in that complaint. 1 failure to write a required report and body-worn camera policy violation, charged for both. 1 complaint for racial bias, discrimination, or profiling, unlawful detention, and body-worn camera policy violation, charged for the body-worn camera violation only. 1 complaint for racial bias, discrimination, or profiling, and rude, discourteous, or unprofessional behavior, conduct, or language, not charged. 1 use of force policy violation, failure to provide name and ID, illegal traffic stop, failure to summons a supervisor, not charged. 1 complaint for rude, discourteous, unprofessional behavior, conduct, or language, and failure to provide name and ID, not charged. 1 complaint for investigation procedure policy violation and rude, discourteous, unprofessional behavior, conduct, or language, not charged. 1 investigation procedure policy violation and failure to make a required arrest, not charged. 1 investigation procedure violation and writing an inaccurate report, not charged. 1 use of force policy violation, body-worn camera policy violation, and rude or discourteous, unprofessional behavior, conduct, or language. Then they were charged, that officer was charged for the body-worn camera violation only. 1 investigation procedure policy violation, evidence policy violation, and body-worn camera policy violation, not charged. 1 demonstrating conduct unbecoming of a police officer while off duty and wearing a department uniform and failure to appear in court when summoned and required to do so, charged. 1 use of force policy violation and false arrest, not charged. 1 committing a traffic violation while on duty and and issuing improper traffic citation, not charged. 1, demonstrating conduct unbecoming of a police officer while off duty and improper use of private media, not charged. 1, use of force policy violation and rude, discourteous, unprofessional behavior, conduct, or language. The use of force policy violation was not charged. The rude, discourteous, unprofessional behavior, conduct, and language was charged. 1, damage to personal property and rude, discourteous, unprofessional behavior, conduct, or language. The damage to personal property was not charged and the rude and discourteous behavior was charged. 1, violation of search, seizure, entry procedures, and body worn camera violation. The search, seizure, entry procedure was not charged. The body worn camera violation was charged. 1, complaint for filing false reports and harassment, not charged. 1, failure to take necessary police action and body worn camera violation, charged. 1, failure to take necessary police action and body worn camera violation, rude, discourteous, unprofessional behavior, conduct, or language, and racial bias, discrimination, and profiling. That was no charge for the no charge for the rude, discourteous, unprofessional behavior and racial bias, discrimination, and profiling. Was charged for failure to take necessary police action and body worn camera violation. 1, assisting in altering a court document, not charged. And 1, complaint for altering a court document, misrepresenting facts in a department form, completing a false entry to a document, lying to a complainant, victim, or witness, prisoner restraint policy violation, prisoner guarding policy violation, dress/uniform policy violation, misrepresenting facts to a superior, and misrepresenting facts to internal affairs, charged for all of those.
Oh, take a breath.
Busy quarter for you.
That was a busy quarter. Don, thank you so
Thank you.
much for how you represent the PAB
Thank you.
on the Administrative Charging Committee. Thank you so much for your work. Any questions or thoughts for Don? Any? All right,
Do you have a question?
Karen?
So, I know that we can't be privy to what those cases are,
Mhm.
but are we at least, will we be able to see the demographics of the officers that are charged and not charged?
That is a metric that I hope will be added, but at this point, it's not something that's reported. I think it's something that should go in our annual report and along with the complaints, but that's my take on that.
Any other questions for Don from the board? Don, thank you so much.
Thank you.
No,
You got another hand? Got a hand? Did I miss somebody?
I wasn't sure if Nigeria was speaking or not.
We good?
Right.
Great, great. Again, thank you, Don. We appreciate you. Moving right along, let's update on the trial boards.
All right, thank you, Chair. Also, just a heads up, the next ACC meeting is scheduled for Friday, March 7th in this room and via WebEx.
March the 7th?
March 7th, yes.
Not April 7th.
No, that next ACC.
Oh, AJC?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Which
March
meets,
7th.
which
Okay.
meets monthly.
March 7th.
All right, so I actually have a couple updates in addition to the trial boards that have happened since the agenda was published. There have not been any trial boards since the last PAB meeting, but there are quite a few that are in some way, shape, or form occurring soon. There was a trial board that began on Friday for unnecessary use of force, rude and discourteous conduct, and conduct unbecoming of a Baltimore County police officer. That matter extended through Friday and will resume on Wednesday for deliberation. There is a trial board on February 14th, this Friday, for cheating on exam. There's a trial board from March 3rd to March 4th regarding the altering of a court document and associated charges. There's a trial board on March 14th for violating National Crime Information Center rules and regulations. There is a trial board on March 20th for failure to take appropriate police action, and there's a trial board on March 25th for excessive use of force, discourteous conduct, and failure to notify a supervisor. So busy over the next month, and again, I'll provide updates on all of those for our April meeting. A couple other just brief administrative updates on legislation that has come up. There is the following bills have been introduced in Annapolis, and I'll provide the information and case numbers and link to those in the minutes. SB 625 requires that after 3 years after a complaint against an officer is not charged, found unfounded or exonerated, it would be automatically removed from the officer's record. HB 0537 would allow an officer to request a show cause order if they believe that their rights have been violated during the investigation of a complaint against them. House Bill 0122 would allow officers to file complaints against other officers, and that would go through the PAB instead of going through having to file it through internal affairs. House Bill 0139 would require internal affairs to complete their investigation within 9 months of receipt of the complaint. As it currently stands, there is no deadline for internal affairs to complete the complaint or their review outside of the general 1 year and 1 day deadline. So we have not run into that issue in Baltimore County with cases arriving last minute to the ACC. Our internal affairs division has done a very good job, I think, and Dawn can speak to it better, of providing they try to provide at least several months before the drop dead date so that there's time for the ACC to request additional information from internal affairs before that time and then come back and be heard again at the next ACC meeting. House Bill 0186 would allow licensed attorneys who reside in the jurisdiction in question to serve as chairs of the trial boards in that respective county. Just to give background there for those who don't recall, is that trial boards must be chaired by a judge, either a retired district/circuit court judge or an administrative law judge. Baltimore County is very lucky to have 3 administrative law judges who hear plenty of cases for the county, ranging from code enforcement to police trial boards. They serve as the chairs for the police trial boards in Baltimore County. Many jurisdictions, particularly the smaller ones, do not have their own administrative law judges, and the retired judges have not materialized as an option for jurisdictions because I believe it was the Attorney General's office and Bar Council both said that it would present a conflict of interest if a retired judge available for recall to hear cases occasionally in their circuit or district court were to hear a trial board, because it could prejudice them in cases they hear otherwise. So the only retired judges are those who are fully retired, and understandably, those judges are not interested in hearing cases because they're fully retired. So that has led to many smaller jurisdictions utilizing the State Office of Administrative Hearings, which understandably hears cases involving agencies all around the state of Maryland. So it has created some delay. Thankfully, we don't have to deal with that. As you heard, we have a number of cases that are coming up very soon. Most of those ACC decisions were rendered this fall. So it's a quick turnaround. This would allow attorneys who reside in the jurisdiction in question to chair trial boards in that jurisdiction. All right, there's just one more, and that is the year and a day, much discussed year and a day statute of limitations. There is legislation that this is identical to what was introduced last year, House Bill 0238. There's a Senate companion, I don't have that number right in front of me, that would toll the statute of limitations until any criminal investigation or case against an officer is resolved before that deadline begins to run, which prevents cases where the ACC has to hear a case before it's proceeded to a criminal trial and leads to potential gaps in evidence that's available to the ACC to review. It also requires that internal administrative complaints also be internally adjudicated within 1 year and 1 day. So those are cases that don't involve members of the public. There's no deadline under the statute as it currently stands to do a year and a day deadline by which those have to be completed, although our internal affairs division has adopted that as internal policy. Again, for the sake of fairness to the officer and also to whatever issue may have arisen internally, you want to make sure that's adjudicated quickly. So they have been very prompt on that, but there's no statutory requirement that would change that. again, I will give everyone updates as to the progress of that legislation. But of course, there is the one that was recommended by this PAB, which was the time limit change. So that has certainly been acted upon. Next update I have very briefly is the District 4 vacancy. When Mr. Jake Chambers sat down in September, the county executive has recommended and nominated Ms. Stephanie Betterson, also recommended by Councilmember Jones from District 4. She will actually tomorrow, the council work session, she will testify as to her appointment. And the hope is next week, the council votes on her appointment. Hopefully she will be a member of this board for the next PAB meeting. So she will be on board. I also forgot to mention who the civilians were for those trial boards. I knew I forgot something on that. Just really quickly. So again, apologies.
That's okay.
Circling back for the first trial board that is ongoing. Ms. Sheila Lewis was appointed to that. That case actually was scheduled initially for December. So she was appointed back in the fall. It's postponed until last Friday. It's continued to Wednesday. Mr. Gary Tosadori is the civilian appointee for February 14th. From March 3rd to 4th is Hollis Albert. Both March 14th and March 20th is Wesley Bull, and March 25th is Ms. Sheila Lewis. Again, this is through the randomized process that the PAB approved. There are 6 total civilian members who are members of the trial board roster. All 6 now have heard at least one trial board, and also doing the same with alternates as well. So there are alternates assigned for each of these in the event that a member cannot attend or has to, can't attend for whatever reason. And those alternates are members of the board who have, again, it's the same randomized process, but those who are available as alternates tend to be those who are currently retired, which is a little less, puts a little bit less stress on me. There's a last minute cancellation. Final update is we did receive a correspondence from Nelson Brown from the Randallstown NAACP. He is on the education committee, and he wanted to pass along 2 events that are upcoming that PAB members are invited to attend and provide information on these in the minutes. The first is the NAACP Randallstown branch's Freedom Fighter Dinner Gala on Saturday, May 31st from 4 to 8 p.m. at Diamonds Experience and Catering. This is the first gala dinner for the Randallstown branch of the NAACP, which honors members of the community and their advocacy that's geared towards initiatives that help promote change in the neighborhoods across the county, but specifically in Northwest Baltimore County. Again, we'll provide information on that. And coming up sooner is the Randallstown Library's 10th annual Black History Celebration and Evening of the Arts on February 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Randallstown Library. Again, information will be provided, but Mr. Brown wanted me to pass along that information. And again, given that their president was gracious enough to join us at the last PAB meeting, I think, or 2 meetings ago, I think that it's just wanted to pass that information along to everyone. And I'm happy if there's any questions folks have about anything I've gone over. I know it was a lot of word salad there, but happy to answer.
I have a question about one of the legislative updates. So, Bill, so officers can submit complaint through the PAB instead of IAD.
I got
What
that.
does that change because PAB forwards it to IAD? Or is there
So-
not an anonymous complaint process in
I
place with IAD?
will pull up the statute really briefly just to have it in front of me. So, because I had a similar thought initially, Don. This legislation, all it would do is it would add to the public safety article, section 3102, which states that each county shall have police accountability to, third paragraph, receive complaints of police misconduct filed by members of the public and police officers.
Okay.
And police
So
officers.
that's the only
Okay.
substantive
Okay.
change. I
Okay,
think that and then cutting out the terms by a member of the public and by a citizen from what happens when IA receives it. I think that it essentially confirms that I can't speak for the bill drafter, but my thought is it would So when a member of the public submits a complaint, by default, that complaint is going to end up in front of the ACC. I think the intent here is that if a police officer submits a complaint, the same process would play out. So it would go to the ACC. Whereas under the current statute, if it's a police officer versus police officer dispute, if a police officer says this guy was rude and discourteous to me, then it would be an internal affair, internally handled. So that is my suspicion because of the way that the fact that it cuts out the member of the public language from some of the other elements of it. I don't know. Again, it's just as that one sentence, so it would require some investigation as to what and again review of what the testimony and the legislation is. But I think it would also just allow them to file complaints through so yes, it would end up at IA, but no matter what's going to end up in front of internal affairs, but instead of submitting it through their precinct commander, for instance, or to go to the public safety building to file a complaint, they could file the complaint online through the portal.
All right, thank you.
So
I think all of us caught that one.
it's an interesting, it was, and that legislation, I don't know if that is coming up it's up for a hearing on the 25th. So,
Okay. Any other questions for Henry? Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
not a problem.
All righty. Old business. Old business.
I can give context on this, Bishop Dennis, if you want me to, just to.
Sure.
Okay.
Please do.
So in November, there was a question from several members of the PAB, including Mrs. Sean Fuhrer, about having Office of Law elaborate on the policy that the PAB, under the statute, cannot review complaints themselves as they come into the Police Accountability Board. I forwarded that request to Office of Law. They have drafted a memorandum, and Alec is here from Office of Law. So the intent would be to go into closed session for purposes of legal advice and review of I can share it on the screen once we're in a breakout session. The review of the memorandum itself, since it is attorney-client privilege, it needs to be in closed session and not, circulated ahead of time.
Great. Okay. With that being
Well,
said.
We gotta let the motion come up on the record before we pause.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's all right.
I'll make a motion for the Baltimore County Police Accountability Board to enter closed session for the purposes of receiving legal advice from the Baltimore County Office of Law pursuant to General Provisions Act 3-305B7.
Second.
Thank you. We've been probably moving the second we're going to this closed session. Any objections? So be it. Let's proceed. Okay. All righty, we're back in open session. Where we go from here? Let's
I
see.
do have an additional item, if I may.
Yes, please.
Can we find out when BC Stat is updated? Because they have the demographics for officers that have complaints against them.
Okay.
But like for 2024, it shows 138 complaints. So if that could get updated by the time we put our annual report in with everything we've given them, they could give us, I don't know where they get the data from, like, I guess.
It's probably aggregated from IA.
Okay,
Like I
so-
imagine it's not
Yeah,
tied
if
to
we're reporting
complaints.
that to them, that could be a demographic that we pull in from
Yeah, we
BC
can-
Stat for our report.
Yeah. 'cause
It's obviously not up to date right now, but
No, I think that's a really good point that,
it gives, and I guess it's the complainant demographics, so it gives gender and race, and then for the officer, and then individual gender and race, and the age involved, and
Yeah.
involved officer years of service.
and for the complainant data that we based on the complaints, you share that data or are available, because as Dawn knows, a lot of times complainants don't provide that information
Right.
or don't follow up with internal affairs.
What are you looking at, Dawn?
BC Stat, if you
Okay.
Google,
We'll put it in the minutes too. the link,
yeah,
'cause-
there's a link for the Baltimore County Police Data Dashboard, and there's a complaint dashboard and a use of force dashboard.
Mhm.
It's also where you can go with internal affairs to submit a complaint or a compliment with the department.
Yeah, I see that the complaint number is a little. Yeah, it doesn't see, it looks like November was the end, but I think it also is missing data from the fall because if you look in the right corner, it just drops, it falls off a cliff.
Well, it says 138 total in there, which is
Less
Usually
than,
not right for the whole
yeah.
year.
I think it's been updated through, it's probably been updated through Q3, because then it seems like in Q4, there's none that come through, which
Okay.
obviously would.
Okay. All right,
All
thank you.
right. Any other comments, observations?
I have a motion.
All right. You want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'd like the motion that the board begin receiving the contents of all complaints received, starting with the April meeting.
What was the motion? Sorry.
That the board begin receiving the contents of all complaints received by the board, starting with the April meeting.
Started with the April meeting, that board starts receiving. All right. Wait for a second. Not sure what that's.
Seconded.
Been
I'm not
properly
sure
moved and
if we're going
seconded
over
that the
second.
board start receiving copies of these comments effective the April meeting.
We do have discussion now.
We would have to,
We have
go ahead,
moved second discussion, so anybody who has any comments on that?
say it again.
Anyone has any comments can discuss now, but now it's moved and seconded.
So,
This is the time for discussion and then.
oh, time for discussions now, yeah, I'm sure. Okay. Any discussion? Before we put it to a vote? Any discussion?
Just that it's, I think it's generally a bad idea to go against advice of counsel. And any potential litigation would very much worry me.
Did everybody hear Don? Don's concern that it goes
Yeah.
against the advice of counsel?
So can I just ask procedurally, since it's a new business, does it have to be deferred to the next meeting?
It would be going to the next meeting for a vote and posted on the board website.
Okay, and that would actually be my request anyway, because I do want to look into some of the statutes that were referenced by, well, I don't want to get into what was discussed, but I want to do some further research on this issue. So I think we should follow the procedure and defer the motion to the next meeting.
Yeah. The only exception is on unanimous votes. It can be moved, seconded, and unanimously approved, but otherwise it should be
Yeah,
deferred because it would be.
The bylaws.
Yeah, it would be a bylaw change.
Right? The record will show that the motion was indeed made, right?
Yes, it needs to be made and seconded
But we
in order
would be-
to go to the next.
It would, then now let's
Yeah.
defer to the next meeting.
Yes.
Everybody understand that process? All right. With that being said, I think we're done, right?
I think that, well, there's any public comment. I don't see that.
I don't think, I didn't see anybody.
All right.
Motion for the Baltimore County Police Accountability Board to adjourn until April 7th, 2025 at noon in room 118 Historic Courthouse and via WebEx.
Second? Second from anybody?
Yeah, I'll second.
Motion to- Thank you. So be it, so adjourned. We'll see you back here on April the 7th, right here at room 118 or WebEx. Till then, be safe. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
everybody.
for coming in.